Manchester United, Arsenal, Gyökeres, and Sporting are stuck in a very sticky and vicious situation. But of course, if you are a regular Scarlet Report viewer, you know that I always talk about the importance of separating the signal from the noise. In other words, the importance of cutting through the crap and getting to the bottom and to the heart of the story. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video. But first, let me get started with a disclaimer. This is by no means not a coping video. In other words, the angle I'm using in this video is not to say that, all right, Gyökeres, good riddance. If he wants to sign for Arsenal, I never rated him. No, I've always maintained that he is a very good striker. In fact, I think that he's the archetype center forward for Ruben Amorim in his system. The main reason I cannot support Manchester United pursuing a deal for Gyökeres is, of course, his agent, Hasan Cetinkaya. And this guy, you know, if you are being truthful, let's face it, when it comes to negotiation strategy and his ability to gain leverage, this guy is a black belt. This guy has definitely read The Prince by Machiavelli. But of course, I am a Manchester United fan. Therefore, it is my duty to look out for my tribe. So I definitely cannot support us going for a player like Gyökeres when he's represented by a snake like his agent, who is also, and you'll find this really interesting, Frenkie de Jong's agent. Oh shit, things just got real. So let's dive deeper into Gyökeres' agent's modus operandi. Basically, the nature of the stalemate between Gyökeres' agent and Sporting has been portrayed in the media as being a matter of verbal agreements. Guys, if you believe that at this level, people still use verbal agreements and pinky swears, then I have a bridge to sell you, okay? Come on, guys, don't be that gullible, okay? No, the issue is actually much deeper than that. In fact, according to this article from Yahoo Sport, the nature of the problem is actually much more complex and multi-layered than it seemed. In fact, Sporting have signed a clause with Gyökeres' agent that forced them actually to pay him a 10% fine or penalty in case they refused or rejected any offers over 60 million euros. Now, so what does this mean? In basic terms, is that it actually forces Sporting to either accept an offer of less than 60 million euros, therefore making it easier for Gyökeres to leave Sporting to go to a bigger club, or it forces them to only accept offers that match his release clause, which is around 100 million euros. 10% of that would be 10 million that they would have to pay as a fine or a penalty to the agent. But then again, once you go that high, there aren't many clubs. I don't think there are any clubs that are actually willing to match that bid. Well, then some of you will say, well, Mr. Scarlet Report, Sporting are stupid. Why did they accept such a deal? Well, I have two things to tell you. First of all, that's actually quite common in football, especially when it comes to players going to clubs where they know that they only want to stay for 1 or 2 seasons. Classic case is actually Gabri Vega, for example, who moved from Celta Vigo, even though he was linked to some of the world's biggest clubs, to Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia. But of course, he had a similar release clause, and now he's back in Europe with Porto. Same thing with Carrasco when he moved to China and then moved back to Atletico Madrid a couple of years after that. But the other thing is that the reason why Sporting signed such a bad deal was because they were actually kind of forced to do so, because Gyökeres' agent was able to create leverage by bringing in bids, especially from clubs like Atalanta, La Dea, who were actually quite a, concrete contenders to get this Gyökeres deal across the line. And so, in other words, Sporting, who were quite desperate to get Gyökeres, they had to sign this deal because the agent just told them, listen, if you don't sign this deal, he goes to Atalanta. But if you give me a favorable deal like this one, where there is a fine, where I can get something out of you rejecting offers from other clubs in Europe, then of course, I'm going to sway him to come towards you. And of course, to better understand this modus operandi that this agent uses, remember, he's Frenkie de Jong's agent as well, we have to step back into the timeline here and go back to the year when Barcelona got Frenkie de Jong from Ajax, okay? Now, if you remember, Ajax were selling a lot of their gems after those impressive seasons under Erik ten Hag, Ziyech, Van de Beek, De Ligt, but of course the crown jewel was always Frenkie de Jong. However, Mark Overmars, who was the director of football at Ajax at that time, was actually just happy and satisfied with selling Frenkie de Jong for anything that was above 40 million euros, because that was more than they got for Davinson Sanchez, the Colombian centre-back who signed for Spurs. And so for Ajax, that was actually already a good deal. But then again, Gyökeres' agent came and sat at the negotiation table with Ajax and told them, listen, guys, you don't have to settle. I can get you a much higher bid. I can get you twice as much. And they were like, what? You're nuts. How are you going to do that? Okay. Well, according to the story from goal.com, that's exactly what happened. And the way he did it is very simple. He knew that Barcelona wanted him. But what he did again, he created more demand, okay? So he brought in more concrete offers from many big clubs, including Juventus, Manchester City, and Paris Saint-Germain at the table. So obviously Barcelona started panicking. So they started increasing their bids, trying to outbid each other. And all along, the agent knew that Frenkie de Jong wanted Barcelona. But of course, the reason he did this is actually very simple. And it's classic leverage, okay? And classic opportunism on his part. Because by offering this deal to Ajax, basically what he's telling them is that, guys, I can make you more money. But of course, you have to give me a cut, okay? Give me 10% of the final fee. That's 7.5 million, okay? And he can go to Barcelona also and say, listen, guys, with Juve, PSG, Manchester City, all interested, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, guys, but I can sway Frenkie de Jong your way if you give me a percentage of the fee. And that way he was able to actually play Ajax and Barcelona off of each other, where maybe Ajax were winners in that they got a higher fee, but Barcelona were definitely losers in that they paid twice as much as they should have paid. And as this article by goal.com says, literally, I mean, the Barcelona hierarchy were actually crying tears of joy because they were so happy, but actually, you know, they got screwed over, okay? It's like when you go to the Medina in Marrakesh, you know, and then a salesperson just tells you, oh, you see this rug for you, my friend, because you're my friend. I'm going to give you a good deal, okay? 2,000 euros. Guys, that's not a good deal. That is not a good deal, okay? That's exactly what this agent is doing. And so now when we come back into the present time, what is happening now between Manchester United, Arsenal, and Sporting is exactly the same modus operandi right here, because what is happening is that he's bringing Arsenal and Manchester United into a bidding war. This serves two purposes, okay? The first one is that it increases the value of the bids that would be theoretically coming Sporting's way. Therefore, he's actually going to earn much more because Sporting can only sell to one club. Therefore, they are going to reject one offer. Therefore, he's probably going to get, a fine, a 10% fine from that rejected offer from Sporting. But the other thing is that then he could actually go to Manchester United, since Manchester United probably are in a weaker negotiating position than Arsenal because we don't have Champions League football. And he could say, listen, guys, Gykeres prefers Arsenal, okay? But, guys, for you, because we're friends, okay, I can get you a deal. I can sway him your way if I can get 10% from the transfer fee. And that way he can get a percentage from Sporting and a percentage from Manchester United. And this, guys, I cannot support this. I cannot stand for this. This is absolutely toxic. And for this reason, there's no way that I can support us going for a player who is represented by an agent like this, even though I really like Gyökeres as a player. Don't be mistaken. The road back to the top for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim is going to be long, and it's going to be bumpy and hard. Therefore, we need players like Bruno Fernandes, who has literally sacrificed his career in order to stay and lead us to the promised land. Players like Xerxes, who it's clear that he loves the club, even though he's been here just for one season, a very difficult season, the way he's recovered from being booed against Newcastle. Players like Maguire, for example. Players like Mazraoui with his calm, and De Ligt as well with their calm and professional demeanor. Those are the kind of players that we need to build this new Manchester United squad around. Not a player like Gyökeres. Again, nothing against the player. But then just look at it this way. Even if he signs for Manchester United, he's 27. Let's say we have another bad season, which is extremely likely. His agent is going to start leaking information. 28-year-old, he wants to compete in the Champions League. Oh, he's tired. He doesn't believe in Ruben Amorim's tactical setup. He doesn't believe in Ruben Amorim's training. It's going to be similar to what we've seen with Sancho, similar to what we've seen with Rashford. Players like these, when you have a larger-than-life character as an agent, as is the case with Gyökeres, they can easily influence the players. And that's just toxicity. Toxicity that with a high-profile signing like this can easily seep into other members of the dressing room, and then we're going to be back into square one. So this is why I simply cannot support this sign-in. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this, brief analysis of the Gyökeres situation? Let me know in the comment section. What do you guys think about this? Would you still go ahead with a player like Gyökeres, even though the fee is going to be a little bit steep and he's going to come with a problematic agent? Or would you like to go for alternative? Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Until next time, cheers.